Our first scripture reading for the day is from Exodus chapter 24, verses 12 through 18. The Lord said to Moses, "Come up to me on the mountain and wait there, and I will give you the tablets of stone with the law and the commandment, which I have written for their instruction." So Moses set out with his assistant Joshua, and Moses went up into the mountain of God. To the elders he had said, "Wait here for us until we come to you again, for Aaron and Hur are with you. Whoever has a dispute may go to them." Then Moses went up on the mountain, and the cloud covered the mountain. The glory of the Lord settled on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. On the 7th day he called to Moses out of the cloud. Now the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a devouring fire on the top of the mountain in the sight of the people of Israel. Moses entered the cloud and went up on the mountain. Moses was on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. Our next scripture is read responsively. It's on page 819 in your hymnals and on the screen. It's Psalm 99, verses 1 through 9. The Lord reigns. Let the peoples tremble. The Lord sits enthroned upon the cherubim. Let the earth quake.
The Lord is great in Zion, and is exalted over all the peoples.
Let him praise your great and wondrous name.
Holy is the Lord.
Mighty ruler, lover of justice, you have established equity.
You have executed justice and righteousness in Jacob.
Extol the Lord our God. Worship at the Lord's footstool.
Holy is the Lord.
Moses and Aaron were among God's priests. Samuel also was among those who called on God's name.
They cried to the Lord, who answered them, who spoke to them in the pillar of cloud.
They kept God's testimonies and the statutes God gave them.
O Lord our God, you answered them. You were forgiving God to them, by the measure of their wrongdoings.
Extol the Lord our God and worship at his holy mountain.
Surely the Lord our God is holy.
Our gospel reading is from Matthew chapter 17, verses 1 through 9. This is the Transfiguration. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and his brother John and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became dazzling white. Suddenly there appeared to them Moses and Elijah talking with him. Then Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will make 3 dwellings here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, suddenly a bright cloud overshadowed them, and from the cloud a voice said, "This is my Son, the beloved. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell to the ground and were overcome by fear. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, "Get up and do not be afraid." And when they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus himself alone. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus ordered them, "Tell no one about the vision until after the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." The word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
Now, if you would please stand as we sing our worship hymn, "Be Thou My Vision," all the verses, and it is on page 451 in your hymns.
Be
On Sunday, January 1st, we began the season of Epiphany with Matthew 2. This is the story of the Magi following a brilliantly bright star in the heavens so that they might be led to find the baby Jesus. Today, we close out the season of Epiphany, the season of aha moments, and the story of the transfiguration of Jesus. The season began with the bright light of the star, and it ends with the bright light of the transfigured Jesus. The transfiguration is a fascinating story to reflect on. There is this mountain, traditionally Mount Tabor. Not much of a mountain, is it? It doesn't matter whether it is Mount Tabor or another popular consideration is Mount Hermon. This may not be your vision of a mountain. It has a vertical rise of 800 feet. Going up the mountain is more like a hike than a climb. Mountains were places where you encountered God. Think about Moses on Sinai receiving the law and Elijah in the whirlwind. You go up the mountain to get closer to God. Where's your mountain? Your place of encounter with God, your place of stillness and quiet, solitude and reflection. Let's do a little exercise here. I want you to remember that perfect spot, that place you might have seen on vacation, perhaps the beach or in the mountains. Perhaps it's a special place on your own property that somehow is sacred to you. I want you to close your eyes and place yourself there in that perfect spot. There are no bills to pay, no doctor's appointments, no stress. The sun is slowly kissing your face and the warm breeze brushes through your hair. We all have this place. Some of you are picturing the mountains. Some of you are picturing the beach. This is a place that you feel at one with nature, at peace with yourself, and somehow closer to God. Are you there? Do you remember? When you were in that place, perhaps only for a moment, did you want to leave? Did you want to stay there forever, locked in that perfect place and in that perfect moment? This is where we find Peter and James and John, our story from Matthew this morning. They walked up a mountain with Jesus, and they sat with him there at the top. This was already a privilege for them because Jesus had chosen them for his inner circle, his VIP entourage. They were already excited and they were anticipating what was to come. And then it happened. Jesus was transfigured. The Greek might be better translated into metamorphosed. He changed into something glorious. This picture we see on the screen is an artist's rendition of Jesus' transfiguration. With Jesus, you see Moses, whom God had already raised from the dead, and Elijah, who was taken up into heaven without ever dying. Jesus' face shone like the sun. His clothes were dazzling, a brilliant white, and he stood there in the glory that was yet to come. Peter, James, and John had to shield their eyes from the brilliance of the light. There, Moses and Elijah, the two most important figures in the Hebrew Bible, stood with him and were discussing something. Peter wanted to stay in that moment. It was like nothing he'd ever seen before. He told Jesus that it was good for them to be there and that he would build 3 shelters for them, one for Moses, one for Elijah, and one for Jesus. Peter wanted to stay there on the mountain, but he couldn't, just as we cannot stay in our perfect place either. These perfect moments in time are just that. They're moments. This glimpse that these 3 inner circle disciples saw was only temporary. We don't know how long it was, but it was now in the past. Peter wanted to stay there in the past. It was safe. It was beautiful. It was perfect. Peter, James, and John could not stay on that mountain, and we cannot stay in our perfect place for too long either. We can't live in the past, no matter how perfect and how beautiful the moment. That doesn't seem like good news, does it? There is good news that's just as those perfect, beautiful moments pass, so do the ugly, hurtful moments. We cannot dwell in the past, no matter how beautiful or how ugly it might be. Jesus tried to teach this to his disciples as they were coming down the mountain. We must not dwell on the past, but be mindful of the present and hopeful for the future. Why? Why can't we live in the past? One reason is because there's work to be done in the present. Let's go back to the story from Matthew. Jesus was speaking with Moses and Elijah. We don't know what they were talking about. Perhaps they were telling Jesus what he must do in order to receive his glory. This might be the case, but probably not, because earlier in Matthew, Jesus revealed to the disciples that what must take place, that he must be arrested, beaten, killed, and on the 3rd day be raised. It doesn't seem that this is what they were actually talking about. Perhaps Elijah and Moses were offering Jesus some form of encouragement for this long road that he had ahead. Perhaps they were there to give Peter, James, and John a greater sense of spectacle. Then a bright cloud enveloped them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my Son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell face down on the ground and were terrified. But Jesus came and touched them. "Get up," he said. "Don't be afraid." When they looked up, they saw no one there but Jesus. Jesus knew what had to happen. Jesus knew God's plan, and we can only imagine what was going through his mind. Is this really what I have to do? Is there no other way? In this moment, Jesus revealed his divine spirit to the 3 disciples. In a few days, Jesus could return to God the Father, but first, his path went through Calvary. If Jesus was to follow God's path, then it meant going to the cross, to that place called Calvary, the place of the skull outside of Jerusalem. However, this was not the only path to glory that was offered to Jesus. Remember earlier in Matthew, Jesus was in the wilderness and was tempted by Satan. Satan offered him all the power and glory in the world. For what? All he had to do was worship Satan. Jesus had a choice, the easy path or the path of God, which was anything but easy. We don't want to think about this choice because it's not the way we tend to look at Jesus. We want to believe that Jesus came down and followed the pathway of God's path without any pause or any question. But if we believe that he was fully man as well as fully divine, then we must also believe that he had a choice, a difficult choice at that. He could take the easy path or he could take the difficult path of God. Jesus could have said, "I can't do it. It's too hard. It's too painful." But the love he had for us, all of us, trumped the difficulty of the path of God that went through Calvary. That's the good news of the Bible, that Jesus had a choice and he chose us. He chose the cross, not for himself and his own glory, but for us, so that we could share in the glory. God so loved the world that he sent his Son, and the Son so loved the world, he chose the cross. That's some kind of powerful love. That's the kind of love that breaks the heart of stone. That's the kind of love that transforms. It's the kind of love that changes the most hardened criminal into the most powerful preacher of love. Feel the love flowing from the cross and be transformed by it. Let it carry you to places you never dreamed of. Our paths are before us as well. Beware of the easy path, because it might be a trap. Often the path that God has